Hello, my name is Micah, and people are always asking me for good youth group games, so here are 10 of them. The first one is called the circle game. It's just a circle of chairs. Students sit in those chairs and they throw a 4-square ball to each other. And the person in the middle has half of a pool noodle. And they try to hit the person with the ball. And if they can do that, then they can switch places, and then they're not in the middle anymore. We penalize people that if they throw the ball and no one can catch it, then you can hit them, because the ball has to be catchable. Another thing is the chairs have to be far enough apart so that people have time to run and they still have time to throw and catch it. We also say the person in the middle can't block the ball physically. That would be unfair. If you want to add some spice to this game in our youth group, if you can throw the ball between the person in the middle's legs and nutmeg them, then that counts as 5 minutes of immunity where you can't be out, and the students really like that a lot. Game number 2 is 9-square. It's just like 4-square, except there's 9 squares. I use yarn and tape, but you can use chalk. There's all kinds of ways, electric tape, many different ways you can do this game. So I do 5 paces by 5 paces. That's my square. That's how I keep it even. And then the person in the middle is square number 1. So they have a huge advantage from their location. And the only caution I would say is no spikes, especially not on serves, because that will keep it from being fair and kill the fun. The third game is called change bases. So you have bases on the ground, and everyone has a base except for one person. And that person says, change bases, and everyone switches bases. This game can be pointless, or you can eliminate a base at a time and do it like musical chairs. People can be eliminated, but either way, it's still fun. The next game is called Milk Jug Relay. People will pass bean bags back and forth. You'll have 2 rows, and so every other person will be on a different team, and so they have to pass it zigzag to the end of their row. And when they get to the end first, then they win. Now, some rules are they're not allowed to use their body. They'll try to cheat instead of starting over again. They'll try to use their hands, their feet, whatever they can get to put the beanbag into the milk jug. The second way they try to cheat is by interfering with the person next to them because they're on the opposite team. And this is a shortcut that we do not allow. So this game will teach patience, and it will be fun once they get the hang of it. The next game is Hide the Coin. You have 2 teams, and there's 1 coin. And so the one side of the table will pass the coin back and forth. And then they'll put their hands up and down, and if they do it in unison, it makes it hard to spot where the coin is or hear where the coin is. The other team has to guess every hand but the hand that has the coin. And if they can eliminate all the non-coin hands and just have the coin hand left, and that's raised last, then their team will win the coin, and then it's their turn. There's a lot of strategies to this game. Obviously, doing things in unison, not having your fingers spread, knowing where people usually put the coin in their dominant hand. There's all kinds of strategies and techniques, and this one can be fun. This next game is just a relay. You have a pair of gloves and Hershey Kisses, and the team races to see who can open up the Hershey Kisses with gloves on, put it in their mouth, put the gloves back, and run back to their side, touch their teammate, and the next person comes out. It's a simple game. It works for holidays. You can't go wrong. All right, this one takes a little bit of preparation, but it's the geography game. So if you have a projector, you can mount on the ceiling and point towards the floor, and then you'd show a map, either a world map, United States, or an individual state perhaps, and you tell both teams to run out there and drop a beanbag where they think a specific city is, or a state is, or a country is. And then once they do that, then you show the second slide on the projector, which would show an X on the exact spot. And whoever is closest to that, their team wins. So this game doesn't just teach speed, but it also teaches thinking and knowledge. Games need to challenge people on multiple levels if you want to have the most fun. The next game is called Clumps, and you have 2 teams, and you can send a group out there, and you'll announce a number, and then people have to form in that number. They have 30 seconds. When the 30 seconds is over, if they're not part of a clump that's in the exact number, then they're eliminated. And you keep doing that until one team has a certain number of players. Some things that people can figure out is that you can join clumps of other people on the opposite team and ruin their number by making it too high. And when that happens, then it gets really fun because it gets exciting and people pushing and getting in and getting out and that kind of thing. The only caution is you can't use numbers above 4. It just didn't work, and I don't know why that is. It's harder to count. It's harder to keep track of. But this is a good game to get people talking and mix up groups. This next game is pretty simple. It's milk jug field hockey. You just get gallon jugs and you chop the bottom off, and then you have to stay seated in your chair, and you try to eventually pass the beanbag forward until someone can throw it into a garbage can, in which time your team gets points. You can't let the kids move their chairs. If a beanbag falls on the ground, then it's a turnover for whoever threw it. This next game may sound a little bit complicated, but once you do it, it is not complicated at all. It's called the Cat in the Hat, and I use buckets donated by Home Depot, And buckets are more fun than chairs even because it's harder to keep your balance. But you have 2 teams, and one of those teams you have 3 players, Mother, Fish, Sally. You'll read the book, The Cat in the Hat. It's like Upset the Fruit Basket. If you say the word mother, then 1/3 of both teams have to switch buckets. And one person that's left over, they'll count against their team. And if you read the word fish, all the fish change, or Sally, they all change. If you read the full phrase, The Cat in the Hat, then it's like a complete upset of the fruit basket. Everyone has to switch buckets. And so you have to have someone that keeps score in the middle, and they keep track of who's left over, and then whoever has the most players left in the middle, they have the higher score, and it's like golf. That team loses.
And Sally.
Like and subscribe to this channel. Click the button right here. Ding ding.